Tuesday, April 29th, 2014. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, FTL Advanced and Flashpoint.
Let's do this.
I wanted to stream this show live on Twitch. I feel like that's a thing we should do, especially because we learned at Zenkaikon that apparently the height of celebrity for 11 to 11 and a half year olds is being a YouTuber.
Is that our target audience, 11 to 11 and a half year old?
Seems like the most, I don't want to say lucrative, but definitely the most followy and clingy demographic.
Okay.
If we want followers and clingers on, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, just that I want a bunch of 11-year-olds coming up to me at conventions.
That's what we need to do. All of Geeknights will now just be us silently playing Minecraft and occasionally giggling on a live stream.
Yeah, Minecraft's not too bad.
Yeah. So let's start streaming it right now. No more other Geeknights. That is the sole format of Tuesday henceforth.
No.
Yeah, I wanted to stream the show, but my camera's so old that I got to do a little bit of investigation. It does not like taking an audio input from a mixer into its internal microphone ports.
Well, how fortuitous is it that today I received a brand new camera, which is the height of camera technology.
That's a pretty good camera you got there.
I mean, I guess there are better cameras, but this one is the only one that can do 4K videos to an SD card in itself that costs as little as it costs, that isn't just a GoPro. So there you go.
Yep. So now we just got to integrate it into our pipeline and do the whole thing, and then it'll be good to go.
Should be pretty good. It does
Yeah.
everything we needed to do.
Just watch out. Geeknight is going to be stepping up the game of video production in the coming, I guess, months.
With 4Ks, and which is I don't know how many Ps, you're going to see a lot of Rim's face sweat.
Yep. That's the one trouble. We can't run the air conditioner in the house when we're doing video because it's too loud, but those lights get way hot.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we should start wearing makeup.
That's all you.
Do the powder.
That's all you.
Gonna powder up?
Listen, you got to learn about that.
Yeah? I'll powder you up. It'll be fine.
Go for it.
So yeah, we'll be starting to stream Tuesday shows on Twitch once I set up a good pipeline and get some more microphones and all that crap. Yeah, otherwise, I guess the biggest news, to talk about it briefly, while we were at PAX East, they announced...
No, not Zenkaikon?
PAX South.
Oh, right.
Yeah, why would I be talking about PAX?
Because Zenkaikon, I'm just saying, I thought you were going to say while we were at Zenkaikon.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Yeah. While we were at Zenkaikon, we played a bunch of games. While we were at PAX, they announced the fourth and final PAX.
Final PAX.
There's no more PAXs. Maximum PAXs.
Right next to Final Yamato, the fourth and final.
So this thus presents a conundrum to the jet-set gamers and the game industry. Do you go to MagFest or do you go to PAX South? Because they're the same
I feel like this
weekend.
year's a fluke because MagFest got moved from New Year's to late January, and then at the same time, it's running from Friday to Monday instead of Thursday to Sunday, which is very strange.
Which is causing problems for a lot of people. A lot of people I've talked to are not going to be there on Monday, so it's turning into a 3-day con because they got to go to work.
Yeah, so it's like, I think this year is going to be a weird MagFest. And next year, MagFest hopefully will go back to its New Year's Thursday to Sunday ways, and then you'll be able to go to both.
Yep. So we'll see. We're probably going to go to PAX South, but we haven't 100% decided yet. Yeah. There's people bothering us in both directions.
Listen, I wouldn't mind going someplace warm in January, or at least warmer than New York.
Yep. And I figure I've never been to Texas on purpose, so maybe
I've never been to Texas, period.
Maybe it's time to go there with intent.
I must admit that I have a slight reason to go there.
You want to go to the first of every new PAX?
Well, I mean, that's not... Well, I didn't go to the first PAX.
Go to a Schlitterbahn?
Or Necro-Wambicon.
We wanted to go to that first PAX. We just couldn't. We physically couldn't.
No, but there's a lot of Netrunner players in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. And also Tejas, so I'm sure there'll be a presence at the PAX South. So.
We'll see.
Yep.
Plus, fresh audience. We can recycle old panels like we do. I mean, we fly all the way to Australia last year. What do? The same panel we ran at the first 3 PAX Primes in a row.
You want to do Beyond D&D at PAX South?
Yeah, we should do Beyond D&D. We're like, you people down here might never heard of these games like the Burning Wheel.
Down in here in Tejas. Give me some barbecue and maybe I'll tell you about a game you want to know about.
We could go to the Schlitterbahn.
That's a little far away from San Antonio.
Yeah, but it's in Texas.
Yeah, that's like saying, it was in Australia. How come we didn't go there?
How far did we stray from Melbourne while we were down there?
Not much.
I think Phillip Island, the bottom of Phillip Island, is as far away as we got.
Maybe. Yep.
So, PAX South. The only thing I can say about it is a lot of people were mad that it wasn't in Chicago, which I can see. Chicago would have been an equally good choice.
Yeah, but that really is sort of... I mean, Chicago's cool. I'm down with Chicago. The airport really helps it too, right? But that's really hurting everyone who lives south, right? Having three PAXs in the north, right across the top. It's like everyone in the south is always far away from PAX. This one, by putting it low and in the middle,
means people who live in the top middle are still far away from every possible PAX.
If you live in the top middle, yeah, but at least the South PAX is closer to you than the East or West PAX.
Yeah.
Right? If you're living, say, Minnesota.
But a lot of people speculated
Wisconsin.
if it was in Texas, it would be in Austin. I also speculated that because it seemed, but I didn't do a lot of
culture of
research.
Austin is ripe for the PAX. However, the other aspects are not ripe.
Yes, research was done apparently, and Austin is garbage for a large convention like PAX. It just does not have enough hotel space, enough infrastructure.
Right.
And
people point to the SXW, right? But the point is, SXW is different from PAX. It's sort of a sprawling all over the town kind of thing, whereas PAX is an all-in-one building kind of thing.
Yep. And while people say, "Oh, but it's in a bunch of different buildings in Seattle," yeah, those buildings are literally 2-minute walks from each other.
They're connected by sky bridges, those buildings.
And what I find hilarious is a lot of people who are in the South were trying to argue against it being in San Antonio, trying to claim that Austin has plenty of hotels. They're only 10 to 20-minute drives away, thus clearly showing that these people do not go to a lot of conventions.
These people live in Texas where cars, not understanding the rest of the world, no cars.
Yeah, well, most of the world is still pretty car.
I'm saying civilized world.
True. So New York.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah.
But go to a PAX East and see how fun it is to try to drive to the convention center 15 minutes every morning.
If you can't wake up and immediately be in the convention, then that's not a con hotel.
Yep. I mean, I was not super happy that we had to stay a 10-minute walk away from PAX East this year.
Yep.
Though the dates of the next 2 PAX Easts are perfectly public.
Because they're on the website of the Boston Convention Center Authority,
I checked,
whatever.
In 1 month, I could just book a room in the Westin.
Okay.
For us.
Try it.
Might just do it.
Do whatever you gotta do.
It might be like another $80 a night, but it might be worth it just to not have to walk.
If you want to go to PAX Prime this year, now is the time to start obsessively following Twitter.
Oh yeah, you've got that 2-second window to get into the queue and get your badges.
And get in the Sheraton.
Yep. The thing is,
I would click on Sheraton first and badges second.
Seattle doesn't matter. If you miss the Sheraton, whatever. The red line's right the fuck there.
Listen, you might not get the red line either.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get the red lion either last year.
That's right.
Well, we've had trouble because they keep moving stuff around too, but I digress. We're not making this a PAX show. So stay tuned. We'll either be at MagFest or PAX South. If you have a very strong opinion as to which one we should go to, email us.
Yep.
We'll read your email on the show.
Speaking of PAX, E3, the show that PAX killed, still happens, I guess. But Nintendo, remember last year they did a weird thing. They didn't go to it, but they set up things in all the Best Buys where you could play their games, like, demos of games that weren't out yet and stuff. So this year, they're doing something similar to that with the Best Buy thing and some other stuff. But the biggest thing that Nintendo is doing this year that's different is they're going to invite 16 highly skilled Super Smash Bros. Players to a Super Smash Bros. Wii U tournament, the Smash Bros. Invitational, which will be held at the Nokia Theater in LA live during E3. So, is this A... Nintendo recognized, at least Nintendo of America recognized, that Smash Brothers has competitive scene that's cool and has fans, and they could maybe appeal to it, right? But does the game itself appeal to those people?
That I'm really curious about.
Because that game was made by Nintendo Japan and not by Nintendo
honest.
America.
I mean, we know that Smash Brothers Brawl and Smash Brothers Melee had very strong pro gamer followings.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Nintendo has been...
only really Melee, not Brawl.
Brawl had one, but it wasn't as big. Kind of like how
was-
Source had one, but
it was
1.6
DOA.
was still way bigger.
It was DOA.
Yeah.
The
You gotta-
same way that, like,
You got to be able to wave dash across Fox only Final Destination, no
Well,
items.
it was the same way that, if there was a Mario Kart competitive scene, everyone would play Super Circuit, and then when Mario Kart 64 came out, everyone would go, fuck it. No good.
But I guess my point is that Nintendo lately, at least with their other primary competition games like Mario Tennis and Mario Kart, have been kind of removing the skill-based movement, to put it lightly.
Moving the skill-based everything.
Yeah, I mean, and it still bothers me that every review I read of the 3DS Mario Tennis neglects to mention that they removed timing as a factor in the game and turned it into a glorified Simon Says.
But anyway, in this tournament, we're going to find out, I guess, the truth of whether the new Smash Brothers, at least the Wii U version, is competitively viable or not.
I'm worried in general about this sort of bifurcation of their market. I mean, the fact that the Smash Brothers is on the 3DS and the Wii U,
That's cool.
who's going to buy a Wii U for this game?
Well, I
Wii
mean,
U's aren't even selling as it is.
The Wii U Smash Brothers is going to be different from the 3DS one.
But will they be different enough to matter?
It's going to be different. It's have different stages because the one on the 3DS is going to have like mobile, portable stages based on Game Boy games and stuff, and the Wii U one is going to have stages based on console games.
I cannot foresee a world where there is a competitive circuit in both of these that are both healthy at the same time.
Yeah, I don't really see a competitive circuit for any portable game that is a real-time game, just because of the nature of portable devices.
It would be trivial
and
to
such.
do it if you built into the system a way to have a spectator mode.
Sure, but
It'd be trivial. Nintendo will never do that.
I only see competitive gaming, competitive portable gaming for turn-based type games and not for real-time games. Also because of the control scheme, right? Anyway.
Nah. But,
You can't use like a fight stick with a 3DS.
Because there was just a Polygon article I was reading talking about how Nintendo has been by and large radio silent for a while now.
Yeah.
Like, as the company does worse and worse and worse, they say less and less and less. They appear at fewer conventions. They do fewer things. They talk less about anything except when suddenly they release a first-party title or suddenly do some very specific thing like this.
That's always what they've been doing, but they've just been doing less, right? That's part of the reason they're failing is doing less.
Yeah.
But I read some other article somewhere that was like, someone in Nintendo was like, yeah, we're an entertainment company. People know us for video games, so we can really make all kinds of stuff.
I'm sure you can.
I think we're going to
Nintendo.
see Nintendo attempt to make non-video games and fail, probably.
Maybe they're just going to try to get out of gaming and go into some other direction.
Who knows what they're going to do?
It's hard to say.
I mean-
I honestly do not see a significant turnaround happening unless there's a huge shakeup inside of Nintendo's executive management.
I mean, I could see them making, certain things they did that succeeded, like Wii Fit, right? But Wii Fit could have been a standalone device.
Probably should have been.
Right. And
I mean, Wii Bowling should have been its own thing.
Right. I can see them going in sort of a direction of making sort of one-off expensive electronic toys, right? To where you basically get a peripheral with a game built into it.
Oh, you mean like the Wii?
Yeah.
Hey-oh.
As opposed to consoles. And they could be pretty successful doing that.
Yeah, probably. But it's just sad that they've gone in such an opposite direction from everything I've ever cared about as a gamer.
Oh, well.
Yep.
3DS has some good stuff still.
So in some more interesting news, there's been a lot of talk about this lately. There's a couple of different forays in this direction. So I'll link to a more generic article about it. It's pretty possible to design games that, based on the way you play them, can pretty accurately diagnose if you have a lot of mental disorders, like, say, Alzheimer's.
Yeah, you play a memory game and you fail at it, you probably have Alzheimer's, right?
Well, no, it's a little more complicated than
Obviously.
that. But Alzheimer's and diseases like it have pretty specific pathologies and pretty specific sets of symptoms. There's certain keys, there's certain signs that really home in on this person very likely has it.
As opposed to just bad memory.
The primary test is they'll do a PET scan to look for those amyloid plaques in your brain. But apparently, certain behaviors in games related to filtering information and remembering certain kinds of data are equally indicative of Alzheimer's.
So someone with bad memory
It's not just bad
fail,
memory.
Right, would fail at the game differently than someone with Alzheimer's would fail at it.
Exactly. And this concept is not something new. At MagFest, on that panel we had with Dr. Hazard, the privacy in games, we talked about this a lot. This is a really thorny area for games to go into.
Right. What if I make a game, I just market it like, buy this game, everybody, and then I use that game to basically learn a lot of information about the players.
Is that ethical? And the answer is we don't know.
I get that information not from them typing it in or from them clicking I agree, let me tell you about myself, but just from the data of them playing, I learn about them.
Or here's some specific ethics. Let's say you design a game that happens to detect if someone has Alzheimer's, and it's pretty accurate. That does not count as a medical device. Not really covered by a lot of the laws and regulations about medical devices.
Nope.
No
but
real
now,
HIPAA protections
if somebody
in there.
hacks into my game's database and collects all the player data, which they can say that person has Alzheimer's, that person doesn't.
Yeah,
and that's
or
on the internet. And that's on the internet.
Or forget
and
that.
And then someone's hiring someone. And
me
then,
as a game designer, maybe I run the servers for some game, and then I discover this. Do I have an ethical duty to reach out to everyone who tests positive in my game and say, "Yo, dog, you should go to a doctor"? Is that creepy or not? These are the kinds of questions that no one has been asking ever, even though this has been a possibility for decades.
What if I have goggles, and if I put the goggles on, anyone who has AIDS is red, and anyone who doesn't have AIDS is green? And should I make sure that every person I see who's red knows they have AIDS?
But
or HIV, I guess. If they had
up,
AIDS, they would know, but HIV...
Maybe I should get the video of that panel and stick it online. I got it laying around somewhere from MagFest. Bad camera angle and bad audio and all. But the point that was brought up in that panel was that games are much more powerful than most other mechanisms of eliciting information about a person because...
About brain-related things, usually. Right?
Body things, too, because you're seeing that person interact with a controlled environment.
Sure.
Which is pretty much any
tell,
researcher's dream.
It would be hard to tell someone's hair color unless they happen to be the kind... Well... unless if it was a game where they made an avatar, and then I could figure out if they're the kind of person who makes an avatar that looks like them or not.
And there's probably some way to tell that.
Right. Then I could, right? But if they're the kind of person who doesn't make an avatar that looks like them, all I can say is, well, their hair probably isn't the same as their avatar, but I don't know what their hair is.
Yep, but then, of course, by aggregating other
data,
then
I access their
out.
webcam, and then that's it.
But this kind of goes all the way back to, I've known people who get really unnerved if I wear Google Glass around them, but have zero problem with me playing a 3DS with the cameras on the front of it pointed right at them. So games are definitely a blind spot when it comes to privacy. People don't think about games. No one thinks...
Well, why don't we just jump on this and get ahead of the game and make a web game that's really simple, but collects data about the players that we can sell for money?
Well... This article links to a company that is making the Alzheimer's game to use as a diagnostic tool.
Well, that's fine. That's totally cool. I'm talking about, not Alzheimer's, but something valuable. Like we have a game, people play the game, and from their play data only, we figure out what kind of products they want to buy.
There's a much better way to go about this,
I don't
Scott.
know.
Here's how we do it. Find a game that figures out who's gullible.
And then sell them shit.
And then sell them homeopathy.
Or sell them something garbage that we can make a lot of money on. We could do that.
Remember at RIT when we were going to sell that magic fairy dust to people? It's a good thing.
I think it might be. That's actually a really difficult challenge, though, to make a game that detects people who are gullible. Because when you play a game, you sort of trust anyone, even the non-gullible person, trusts the thing the game is telling you, right? When you play Zelda, an old man says the Dongo dislikes smoke, you are 100% goddamn sure the bomb is going to work on good.
But at the same time, when I played Castlevania 2 and someone told me there's a bum dealer selling whacked out goods in this town, probably shouldn't have trusted him.
Well,
He also told me not to look into the Death Star or I might die, and there is no Death Star in that game.
The point is, in good games, right, non-gullible people just, sort of trust everything the game is telling them. Games tend not to lie to their players.
Yeah, but
and when they do, it's sort of in an obvious way, like Portal does and such like that, right?
You got to think outside
Very
the box.
few
It's
games...
This kind of interrogation of a person's brain through a game is not that straightforward.
Obviously.
It's not just, they're gullible in the game, then they're gullible in real life. They kill people in the game.
I still think it would still be, rather difficult to make a game that detects the player's gullibility level.
Well, no, what you do is you do it empirically. You do controlled studies of people, find gullible people.
Right, that's not easy, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's not possible.
I'll bet we could go find a bunch of gullible people, just have a sign that says, $50, come take this test, and we give them a check. And then we have a list of people who are gullible. We have them all play a game. Then we have a bunch of non-gullible people play a game, figure out a statistical difference between the two, and then bam.
All right, go do it, Mr. Genius.
Yeah, well, Old Road Man told me that I have a friend in the town of Aldra, and I should go see him.
Oh.
And for 100 hearts, I can buy a thorn whip. I guess that guy wasn't lying.
Please introduce me to this man. I am interested in what he has to offer.
But anyway, things of the day. This is a video that's very relevant to these windy times here in New York. Porta potty escaped.
What?
This porta potty just flies down the road like it's possessed in the wind.
Oh, okay.
And it just keeps going.
I'm guessing it wasn't weighed down very much if it escaped so easily.
You know, I hope against hope that someone was in that porta potty.
How could it fly away if someone's in it? How light is that person? Maybe a small child.
It could be just really strong wind.
How's a tornado? I mean, come on.
Well, there were just a bunch of tornadoes.
This is why if you look at porta potties, they're usually chained down. The reason they're chained down
so people don't steal them.
Yes, so people don't steal them primarily. But secondly, so that the worst that can happen is they fall over.
It's everywhere. It's in my raccoon wounds.
My thing of the day is a tweet. The tweet has a photo attached to it. The tweet plus the photo are hilarious and creative. And it'll take you like 2 seconds to look at this.
Probably shouldn't spoil it.
It's self-explanatory.
I hope it's self-explanatory.
But it was so clever, and I lolled for reals.
I also lolled out loud.
I rofled, maybe.
I lolled out loud.
I didn't literally rofle, but it was rofle level.
See, I'll never say rofle unless I'm literally doing it.
You'll never say rofle.
I'll never type LOL unless I actually articulated laughter out loud.
I guess if I tickle you, you can say rofle.
Lol.
Yeah, anyway.
So, the book club book is...
Oh, what's the name of the stupid book?
It's your book.
Yeah.
A Canticle for Leibowitz, Captain.
That's the name, yep. The one with the Jesus guy in the front.
It might be one of the earlier instances of one of our favorite genres.
The post-apocalypse humans are trapped inside of a sealed society genre.
Yep. It also...
At least that's what I've been told. I have actually no clue. It could be not that. I'm pretty sure it's post-apocalyptic, though.
I know a decent amount about it.
It's also older than every other example of the genre that I know, including Fallout, Logan's Run, etc., etc. So.
The most apt complaint I've heard about the book is that the way information is stored in the modern era would make that book not work out.
Oh, it's one of those where... At the time, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the complaint levied, and this is not having read the book and not knowing anything about it. Someone says something to the effect of, yeah, but that only works if everything's printed.
Sure. Well, that's like complaining about like a story, that sci-fi story from the 80s and said, yeah, that only works if they didn't have cell phones.
That only works if there's no phlogiston out there.
Yeah, right? It's like Total Recall if they had cell phones.
In the meta moment, Kineticon is coming up in July. We're in the middle of the final stages of scheduling the convention. Mm-hmm. So if you didn't submit your panel, I've been telling you to do that shit for like a year. So you missed the boat.
Oh, well.
Yeah. You should still come to Kineticon.
That ship has sailed. Why wouldn't you come to Kineticon?
Because it's actually a pretty badass goddamn con. It's got better board gaming than the majority of board game focused conventions.
You know, usually we complain about conventions because like they're in a bad location, Zenkaikon. But...
Oh my God! You in the meta moment. You guys,
you know what?
Do not understand what I had to put up with this past weekend in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
But you know what?
Here's a one-act play. Rim playing the role of Scott in a small town. Oh my God! I can't get a bagel, and everything closes. And why is everyone so stupid and provincial? And the food sucks, and I'm bored, and I want to go home, and everything sucks.
Lancaster is better than Hartford, Connecticut.
That is true.
Right?
However,
as bad as Lancaster is,
I was disappointed. I was led to believe.
But that being said, Kineticon is way better than Zenkaikon.
I was led to believe by native
Zenkaikon.
Pennsylvanians that Lancaster was known for having really good food. That food was pretty average.
The good food of Lancaster
Donuts.
was the Amish food, which is mostly baked sugary goods, which, you know, such as whoopie pies and the like, which were quite good.
Yes.
But the rest of the...
And they were like $1.
I'm sure if I cooked food using the fresh ingredients of the farmer's market, like those beautiful looking meats, it would also have been very good.
Those meats did not look any fresher than the meats we get in good delis here, however.
No, but, you know, whatever. Yeah. They had nice vegetables and everything.
But
and the fact is... The foods that were cooked for dinner in restaurants were not particularly exciting.
Also,
in
our
any
waitress
way.
refused to say the name of the beer we wanted to order because the word bastard is such a cuss word. She couldn't bring herself to say it.
Yeah.
And
Listen,
she
if there was a
seemed
beer
really
called-
unhappy when we were all talking about bestiality at the table.
If there was a beer called "Fuck You If You Drink This" in New York, I don't think there is a single waiter, waitress, or bartender of any kind that would not say it without a thought.
Oh, do you want the oak-aged fuck you or the original fuck you? I remember as a kid there was a controversy in grocery stores in Michigan because they carried this this item that was called Hot Damn.
Do you want to drink Bitch Raper 9000 or Rim Fucker Outer Space Model? I don't know. I tried to
What?
think of the craziest possible name
What?
I could think
How
of.
come every crazy example you come up with involves me and fucking?
I don't know.
Without fail. I seem to recall a similar discussion from like 2007.
My brain just tries to naturally insult you at all times.
with fucking apparently.
What's more insulting than that?
I think that's the opposite of insulting.
All right.
I remember a point when someone was
So
describing.
when I say fuck you, you should say why thank you.
Thing is, I wouldn't even hear it. That's like saying comma. How do you say that? Just just pause. It's just a pause between two words.
Go fuck yourself. Don't mind if I do.
So anyway, yeah, Kineticon is actually really awesome, and I wouldn't fly across the country to go to it.
No.
But if you live within a day's travel of Hartford, Connecticut, it's the best thing that ever happens in Hartford, Connecticut.
That's absolutely true. Well, since the last Hartford Whalers game. Oh.
So yeah, we were gonna stream the show live, and our plan was, just so you guys know,
Well, original plan A.
play Mario 3 and go for points.
Right, and play till game over. I realized that's going to take for fuck ever. So
Well,
plan B.
the only way it would not take for fuck ever is if one of us sucked enough to run out of lives.
Right. Plan B was to do the same exact thing, but only just play NES ice hockey since it's ice hockey season.
But that does not turn into a podcast because we've already done a show on ice hockey.
Right. What podcast would we do? It's like if we do the stream, right? If you take the audio of us talking and the game audio while we're streaming, how does that make a podcast? It won't be a very good podcast at all.
Now, I think for the Mario 3 one, it could have been because that's the kind of game where I would tell a lot of anecdotes while I was playing. It would be fine.
Maybe.
But ice hockey, the best we could do is describe ice hockey in a manner that we've already done on Geeknights. We might still stream ice hockey. We'll see how we feel, but we're slowly ramping up to start streaming the Tuesday shows on Twitch. But luckily, we both played a bunch of games. We're not going to review Hansa Teutonica yet, even though we've said we're going to do it very soon.
We've definitely played that more than other games we've reviewed on this
Yep,
show,
but
it's actually got a lot going on in that game, and to make a good show about it, we should play it a lot more.
Yes, I'm kind of tired of. We've been doing a lot of by the standard of reviews of games, we've still been doing pretty deep analyses of these games, but by the standard of us reviewing Puerto Rico, we really haven't been doing that. So I want to give that level of review to Hansa Teutonica.
Yeah, because the game I played a bunch of times, a lot of fun playing.
Yeah, it's the best board game I've come across in recent memory.
Right, it's not even that new, but yeah.
Yeah, I stand by my statement. What games are comparable to it in terms of level of mental engagement and brain feel?
You know, Netrunner's way beyond that. You should try it out.
Yeah.
I heard it's pretty good.
I've heard it's okay.
Yeah.
Eclipse,
And it's always changing, so it never gets old.
But
So you can
Eclipse
keep
gives me
playing it
this
week
sort of
after
like
week.
Master of Orion, Star Control sort of feeling. Not quite the same thing. Actually, I've been kind of feeling like playing Star Control 2 again after I've been reading this last culture book.
Go for it.
This culture book is basically all about, it's basically, hey, this is now the Star Control 2 universe.
It's pretty similar.
Yep. Imagine homogenizing swarms are flying around, and there's all these aliens trying to scavenge a civilization that's a precursor, and good stuff going on. So yeah, FTL got an update, and Flashpoint.
That's your jam, isn't it?
It is my jam, and Flashpoint is a co-op board game about firefighters.
That's right. How could you beat that theme?
Yeah, it's a pretty good theme.
All right, so what did they change in the new FTL, Rim?
So if you guys
did we already do an FTL show?
I do not know if we did, and I will look that up. But basically, FTL, which is a fantastic game on the PC, and I guess it's on the iPad now. Yes, we did do a show on FTL.
All right, so just talk about the expansion.
It got an update that added a ridiculous amount of stuff to the game.
Yeah, I mean, I like FTL a lot. It's really good, but I had the kind of attitude where I played it, I beat it on easy, and then I'm like, I really don't feel like playing this anymore.
I continued to play it because it's such a fun game.
The expansion, though, I watched Rim play it on the train a little bit, and I'm like, I should probably play that at least. I don't think I'd play it constantly like you do, but I could play this a few more times.
Well, I think what does it is when you saw all those weird weapons, and every one of them is actually really complex.
Yeah.
Like the flak cannons and the chain lasers and the stun guns.
Chain laser sounds like my kind of weapon. Pew, pew,
Or
pew.
the ion drone that you shoot into an enemy ship, and it moves around inside like an intruder, randomly ioning shit.
Yeah.
So it'll move to a room, it's like, bzz.
And it's a robot, so if it ions the oxygen, it don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Everyone else, though.
Also, you can play as the those energy people.
I want to get a ship with an entirely robot crew so I don't have to have oxygen.
So one of the races, they deplete oxygen from the room they're in rapidly, like they're a breach. And they don't need oxygen.
Yeah.
Their base ship comes with one human, so I just leave him locked in the cockpit, and it's the only place that has oxygen.
Oh, you just open all the other doors?
I just open all the other doors.
And if there's a fire in there, he just puts it out?
Yeah, he can put it out pretty okay. I can't send one of his crewmates in, though, because they'll kill him by accident. But basically, FTL is super fun.
Why don't you just get another alien that doesn't need oxygen and kill the human?
That's not a bad strategy.
Okay.
Or like they added clone bays. So instead of just having a med bay and losing a guy is a big deal, every time someone dies, their clone pops out basically immediately.
So you can never die from having all your guys killed?
Nope.
So why wouldn't you just immediately get the teleporter, send boarders, when they die, immediately send the new cloned boarders?
Yes, I had a game where I had 2 Mantis crew members, a teleporter, and a clone bay. You know what that meant? Infinite Mantises up your ass.
That's amazing. That's my favorite.
It's basically a constant stream of two Mantises eating their oxygen. It's beautiful.
Then you invest everything. You don't even need to get weapons. Just invest everything in
Shields and engines.
Shields, engines, and hull, and whatever.
Maybe like a breach bomb or an anti-bio.
Maybe something like that.
But it added hacking. It added a million more drones.
How does the hacking work? You control their ship and make it
So you send a drone part, and you target a spot. It hits that spot and locks that system out.
So even more than Ion?
And anyone who's in the room is trapped in there unless they break down the door. It's pretty good stuff. And they enabled the enemies just as much as you.
So that would be cool. You could find a strategy for your boarding. It's like, they have Mantis Men. I'll trap one of their Mantis Men in a room and kill the other people. The Mantis Man can't come out to fight yet.
Exactly.
Then when he does come out to fight, 2-on-1.
So here's what I'll say. I'm not, because we already have reviewed FTL, so I'm not going to review FTL and why I
we're
like
talking
it.
about advanced FTL strategies now.
But the advanced FTL 1, if you already own FTL, it just came automatically. You don't have to do anything. You can turn that mode on or off.
Really?
So you can play classic.
Oh, I thought I was going to have to buy something.
No, it's already in there.
Woo!
You can play classic or advanced mode. So they didn't get rid of the old mode, which is good.
You know, I kickstarted FTL. I got it.
The old mode is a little more constrained, and it's super fun. I mean, I can just beat it on normal pretty much trivially. But the advanced mode has so many different systems and so many more events, and they've just cleaned the game up a lot that it's worth revisiting, and it's gotten to the point to where the emergent behavior can be very unpredictable at times.
You know, FTL has a really sort of old school business model. I mean, it's not old school because it was kickstarted, but it's pretty much just like, buy this game, right?
Yeah.
And then we updated the game and we don't charge any more for it, but we're hoping a bunch of people who didn't own it before will now buy it. I'm wondering how financially successful FTL is.
I have no idea, but the game doesn't require too significant a technology to run. And while
I'm sure
it's
the
complex,
iPad version will make them a lot of money.
While it is complex in a very constrained fashion. There are some broken combos I've discovered. Which,
like what?
Wow, you want to know? The thing is, it's hard to get the broken combo. So
everything's hard to get. I mean, if you get the what's the thing to get early that lets you reclaim the garbage?
Oh, the scrap recovery arm.
The scrap recovery. You get that immediately. It's just like, I win.
I've discovered that if you have a combination of the heavy ion cannon that just goes pew 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 pew, and one of the flat cannons, you are pretty fucking invincible if you can manage the rest of your stuff effectively.
So you ion all their weapons, and then any weapons that do fire get flacked?
What I do is I ion the weapons, and I flak the shields. Flak also does hull damage, and then I just wait.
Oh, and they can't hurt you because all their weapons are ioned?
Yeah. It usually works out pretty well.
And then you get through their shields because flak.
And then
keeps
for
the
your
shields
third
away.
weapon, get like a missile or a bomb or a burst laser. It doesn't really matter.
I feel like the key to winning, though, like really on even the hardest modes, you have to basically take the ships intact. If you
that has never been my strategy.
really, because if you destroy the ships, you just get so much less. And on super
You don't get that much more.
but on like really hard modes, you need every resource you can get.
But at the same time, on hard mode, it's just optimized a little bit better and it doesn't matter.
Maybe.
Your problem, I've watched you play this game on basic mode even, is you only level things up that you can power fully and you always want to power everything all the time.
Why wouldn't I?
Because that's physically impossible to do toward the end game. You cannot run a full complement of drones and weapons and shields and engines. You just can't do it.
Then don't put all those things in the game if I can't have them all at once.
Yeah.
Or let me have a fleet of ships so I can at least have like a drone
Yeah,
ship.
Scott, play Agricola. Can you all animal and bread?
I can if everyone else sucks.
The thing is, this game feels so powerful and satisfying, but it almost feels easy with the advanced mode. But then an enemy ship uses one of these fancy things on you, and suddenly the game really
fuck
fucking
me.
sucks. It's like, oh, my oxygen's being hacked. Oh, fuck.
You get boarded, and then they have clones, and they
Yeah.
board you. Imagine a sea of mantis men coming your way. I just quit.
Yeah.
Or I'd run. I'd be like, run away.
They also updated the AI, so they pretty much go straight for my oxygen and my weapons.
Damn it.
Yep.
I have to upgrade my security doors, keep them out of there.
I don't know if that updated AI is included if you turn off advanced mode or not. I don't think it is, but I'm not sure.
Oh, that's interesting. Like you get the updated AI in regular mode?
I don't know if that's the case or not.
Yeah, interesting.
I suspect you don't, but again, I don't know. I'd have to play regular mode to figure it out. So yeah, the FTL, if you forgot that you own this game, just turn on advanced mode and go crazy.
All right.
It's super fun.
So there's this board game called Flashpoint. It's about firefighters. I saw it on the shelf at a game store, and I said, whoa, board game about firefighting. That looks like an awesome theme. I don't know if it's any good, but that theme looks sweet. And there was expansions that had shit like a fire dog, like a little plastic fire dog. And I was like, whoa, even if this game is garbage, that looks fun just to play with those pieces. What is this about? Well, I got to play it. And you know what it is? It's Pandemic. It's a co-op game where the board is trying to beat you, basically, and you all work together. You're one firefighter each to put out the fire.
But Scott, I thought co-op games all sucked unless they're Hanabi.
Well, this game is not as good as Hanabi as far as co-op games go, because it is basically Pandemic, right? The thing is, compared to Pandemic, this is better. And, of course, somebody could still, right, sort of quarterback this game, right, and sort of play solitaire. You could actually play solitaire. Or, tell everyone what to do and have those problems, right? But for some reason, just the design of it and the fact that it's open, right? See, in Pandemic, you've sort of got these hidden cards, right? And the problem with Pandemic is you can sort of, it's vague what you can tell other people, right? And so you're sort of forced to make your own decision, right? What to do on your turn with your hidden information. And that's sort of what makes it co-op. In Hanabi, you literally can't tell people what you have because you don't know. They all do. And that fixes that problem. Flashpoint goes in the other direction. You don't have hidden information. Everything is public. There's no hidden hand of cards or anything. Everyone sees everything. So what ends up happening is rather than quarterbacking, you simply all discuss together what to do with everyone's turn, right? But you control your firefighter in the end, but no one really does anything dumb or whatever. You have a lot of options. There's so many fun things the firefighters can do.
You fools! I was on the side of the fire all along.
Right. There's no traitors either. Everyone is trying to fight the fire, and basically you're not even really trying to fight the fire. That's secondary. Your main goal is to rescue people from the burning building. When you rescue the certain number of people, then you've won, as long as the building hasn't collapsed yet on top of your heads, right? So, that it solves that pandemic problem in that way, right? 2, it scales to any number of players perfectly, because what happens is pretty much you take a turn doing whatever you do, and then you roll for the fire. And the next player takes a turn, and you roll for the fire. So it's pretty much one player's turn, one fire turn, back and forth. So if you have 6 players, you get 6 turns and 6 fire turns. If you have 1 player, you have 1 turn, 1 fire. It perfectly balances out no matter what. You don't need to think about it. What makes the game the most fun is just the wide variety of shit you can do, right, to fight the fire and the wide variety of things that can happen. It's almost like it's not Dwarf Fortress level, obviously, but there's so much stuff you can do, right? Obviously, you can walk around. You can put out fire.
Yep.
You can put out smoke, right? You can axe walls down to walk through them if you need to, right?
Does that count as damage?
Yes.
The
fire also damages the walls to bring the right. You can open doors, close doors. You can go inspect the points of interest to see if there are people who need being rescued or if they're nothing, and you wasted your time walking over there. There are hazmats in the buildings. You can pick them up and carry them out around and throw them out, or they might get exploded, which is bad. You can go outside and drive the ambulance around to get it closer to where the people you're rescuing are. You can go outside and drive the fire engine around. Then you can use the deck gun on the fire engine to spray, right, and try to put out fire.
I feel like that is the board game equivalent of having one of those mounted machine guns in Half-Life 1.
It only works on one quadrant of the house, so when fires are in the middle of the house, it doesn't work too well. But if a fire's in a corner of the house, the deck gun works great. But there's a random element to it. So, like, when I used it, I missed a bunch of fire. It could have been much more effective had I rolled more conveniently. But yeah, there's just this ridiculous amount of fun firefighting stuff you can do. And the expansions give you more maps, more rules. The fire dog can like rescue people really well because he's a fire dog. He'll just grab like unconscious people and drag them out of the house, but he can't fight fire because it's just a dog.
Racist.
Yeah, sure. Racist. Speciest. Anti-dog. No, I'm pro-dog. The dog is awesome, actually. It's really helpful. But yeah.
Positive stereotypes are just as bad as negative stereotypes.
Fine. Fuck you, dog. You suck. Get out of here. Human's going to fight this fire.
Well, it seems like it solves several of the problems of co-op games. It's not perfect, but it sounds super fun.
Yeah, no, it's just way fun. There's a bunch of different classes. Every firefighter is a different class. Right? So there's the generalist who just has a bunch of action points. The game is action point based. So like the generalist has 6 action points, and it's like 1 action point to move orthogonally 1 space, 2 action points to put out a fire square, right? So 2 action points to drag someone, 2 action points to drag a hazmat, et cetera, et cetera. There's a whole list of crazy things you can do, right? This many action points to use the deck gun, this many action points to drive a vehicle, but if someone else is in the vehicle when you drive it, they move for free. Right, this many action points to chop down the wall. The generalist gets more action points, and that's it. Other characters they have less overall action points that they can use for anything, but they'll have specialties in particular areas. Like there's a guy, he's just really good at putting out fire. There's another guy just really good at rescuing people. Right, if he's carrying people, moves way faster. There's someone else just really good at moving, but not really good at the other stuff. Like they're shitty at the other stuff, right? So you sort of have to look at, what kind of house you're working with, right? The main game comes with 2 boards, 1 on each side, and there's like at least 2 or 3 more expansion boards that have multiple stories, and shit gets crazy. Like the stories can collapse on each other and stuff. But yeah, if you're looking for some co-op action and, pandemic is problematic, and the people you're with, Hanabi's maybe too hard or too small. You're looking for something that takes a little longer than Hanabi.
And I guess if you want that, like, the fun, you don't have that sort of yelling, oh my God, you got to go over there right now feeling.
Yeah, it's not as brutal as Pandemic and trying to kill you is not easy. But it's not brutally hard, right? We were able to come up with a strategy where basically we made a doorway, and when there wasn't a doorway that was convenient, we made one with our axe. And then we put out all the fire, basically leading to the area where the rescued people were, and we funneled them out through this one sort of safe channel, and we let the rest of the house burn, and we managed to get lucky and rescue everyone before the house entirely burned down, and then we were good. So there's strategies to this, right? And we needed to work together to make the strategy happen. If sort of everyone does what they want, then the game will not go so well.
Now, I guess what we need to do is play both of those SNES firefighting games and see how similar they are.
There's an SNES firefighting game?
There's 2 of them.
How does it work?
Kind of like Flashpoint, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Turn-based?
Well, they're real-time, but they're kind of like... You know what they look like? They both kind of look like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Like
Flashpoint kind of looks like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's top-down house view.
I tried streaming one of them a while ago. I promised I'd stream the other one in more detail.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, if you like firefighting as a theme, like This makes you feel like you are firefighting, like the craziest fire that real firemen would never even fight. And in that aspect, this game feels amazing. So if you like firefighting as a theme, get this game immediately. If you like co-op games, and you don't have someone who's a jerk with you who's going to like take over, then also get this game. If you're tired of Pandemic, but you liked it before, but you're just tired of it, get this game. If you don't really like co-op games, or your friends are sucky, or you don't like firefighting, don't get this game.
I feel bad for you if your friends are so sucky that they couldn't even play this kind of co-op game.
Sure.
Now.
Another thing is that, I think the one flaw in the game is that if you play with the same people on the same maps, it's going to get old kind of fast. You really kind of do need the expansions to keep the replay value up. You need to keep mixing it up, right? There's different difficulty levels at least, so you can crank it up to be harder, and you can try different maps and things. But yeah, you kind of, after you played it a few times, if you just get the one box and that's it, I don't know how many times you can play it and still be interested. You'll need to buy an expansion. But there are a bunch of them, and they seem to keep coming out. I guess it's not unpopular. I've been seeing it around a lot lately, so keep an eye on this.
All right. So stay tuned. We'll tweet out when we actually start streaming stuff for Geeknights Tuesdays.
Yeah, maybe you should follow us on Twitter and whatnot.
Yeah, follow us on all the stuff. On Twitter, on actually
Facebook.
follow us both on Twitch.
Facebook's G+, IRC channel,
Yep.
forum.
The Geeknights forum's pretty rocking.
You know what? I just remembered we had a newsletter. I'm going to email that newsletter.
Oh, right. I also forgot about the newsletter.
I'm going to email it. Watch
Ah,
out.
it's coming.
Yeah.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
It's Tuesday, April 29th, 2014. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, FTL Advanced and Flashpoint.
Let's do this.
I wanted to stream this show live on Twitch. I feel like that's a thing we should do, especially because we learned at Zenkaikon that apparently the height of celebrity for 11 to 11.5-year-olds is being a YouTuber.
Is that our target audience, 11 to 11.5-year-olds?
Seems like the most, I don't want to say lucrative, but definitely the most followy and clingy demographic.
Okay.
If we want followers and clingers on, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, just that I want a bunch of 11-year-olds coming up to me at conventions.
That's what we need to do.
I thought you were going to say while we were at Zenkaikon.
Nothing
because that's
happened.
Nothing happened.
Yeah. While we were at Zenkaikon, we played a bunch of games.
We
While
ate
we were at
donuts.
PAX, they announced the 4th and final PAX.
Final PAX.
There's no more PAXs, maximum PAXs.
Right next to Final Yamato, the 4th and final.
So this thus presents a conundrum to the jet set gamers and the game industry. Do you go to MagFest or do you go to PAX South? Because they're the same
I feel like this
weekend.
year's a fluke because MagFest got moved from New Year's to late January, and then at the same time, it's running from Friday to Monday instead of Thursday to Sunday, which is very strange.
Which is causing problems for a lot of people. A lot of people I've talked to are not going to be there on Monday, so it's turning into a 3-day con because they got to go to work.
Yeah, so it's like, I think this year is going to be a weird MagFest. And next year, MagFest hopefully will go back to its New Year's Thursday to Sunday ways. And then
All of Geeknights will now just be us silently playing Minecraft and occasionally giggling on a live stream.
Minecraft's not too bad.
Yeah. So let's start streaming it right now. No more other Geeknights. That is the sole format of Tuesday henceforth.
No.
Yeah, I wanted to stream the show, but my camera's so old that I got to do a little bit of investigation. It does not like taking an audio input from a mixer into its internal microphone ports.
Well, how fortuitous is it that today I received a brand new camera, which is the height of camera technology.
That's a pretty good camera you got there.
I mean, I guess there are better cameras, but this one is the only one that can do 4K videos to an SD card in itself that costs as little as it costs, that isn't just a GoPro. So there you go.
Yep. So now we just got to integrate it into our pipeline and do the whole thing, and then it'll be good to go.
Should be pretty good. It does
Yeah.
everything we need, and you'll be able to go to both.
Yep. So we'll see. We're probably going to go to PAX South, but we haven't 100% decided yet.
Yeah.
There's people bothering us in both directions.
Listen, I wouldn't mind going someplace warm in January, or at least warmer than New York.
Yep. And I figure I've never been to Texas on purpose, so
I've
maybe
never
it's
been
time,
to Texas, period.
Maybe it's time to go there with intent.
I must admit that I have a slight reason to go there.
You want to go to the first of every new PAX?
Well, I mean, that's not, well, I didn't go to the first PAX.
Go to a
or
Schlitterbahn?
Necro-Wambicon.
We wanted to go to that first PAX. We just couldn't. We physically couldn't.
No, but there's a lot of Netrunner players in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, and also Tejas. So I'm sure there'll be a presence at the PAX South. So
We'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
Plus, fresh audience. We can recycle old panels like we do. I mean, we fly all the way to Australia last year. What do we do?
to do.
Just watch out. Geeknights is going to be stepping up the game of video production in the coming, I guess, months.
With 4Ks, and which is I don't know how many Ps. You're gonna see a lot of Rim's face sweat.
Yep. That's the one trouble. We can't run the air conditioner in the house when we're doing video because it's too loud, but those lights get way hot.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we should start wearing makeup.
That's all you.
Do the powder.
That's all you.
Gonna powder up?
Listen, you gotta learn about that.
Yeah. I'll powder you up. It'll be fine.
Go for it.
So yeah, we'll be starting to stream Tuesday shows on Twitch once I set up a good pipeline and get some more microphones and all that crap. Yeah, otherwise, I guess the biggest news, to talk about it briefly, while we were at PAX East, they announced...
No, not Zenkaikon?
PAX South.
Oh, right.
Yeah, why would I be talking about PAX?
Because Zenkaikon, I'm just saying,